welcome to In Bed with Brooke. I am going to be reading my book, Set It Free, for you every night, 5 to 10 minutes every night at a time, just to give you something to wind down from your day and relax. So let me just read the synopsis for you before I get started, and then I have a little timer here to set my timer so we don't go too long. 1986. A time when sitcoms were wholesome and rock and roll was shameless. When Alexandra, an aspiring actress, unexpectedly meets Slater Hart, a promising rock star, they feel the attraction immediately. Their acquaintances cut short thanks to boys behaving badly, and their friendship ends before it has a chance to begin. Finding himself at a loss with their situation, Slater seeks Alexandra's help. With Slater's persistence and Alexandra's kindness, she makes a snap decision that changes both of their lives. When their friendship grows, they find a teacher within each other. She had never learned how to live life to the fullest, and he had never learned what true love was all about. As they climb to the top and their visions become reality, is falling in love enough to give it all up? Or do they have the courage to live their dreams and set each other free? So yes, as I said, title of the book, Set It Free. And now I'll be reading, like I said, circa 1986, and we will start with chapter 1. Pacing was soothing. Pacing helped, most of the time, but it wasn't helping right now. Alexandra was pacing in her living room, wringing her hands together. The repetitive motion of walking back and forth normally did wonders for her when she was a ball of nerves, but it wasn't doing shit right now. What the hell have I done? She questioned herself. One minute she was chatting with her friend Matt after acting class. The next minute she had agreed to let him and 2 of his friends crash at her place tonight. She'd known Matt for a few months and they had gone out a couple times, had even shared a few kisses. She trusted him, but once he told her who he was bringing over, she realized maybe she shouldn't have agreed. She didn't know who the hell these guys were. Was she going to let strange men into her home overnight? Not her brightest moment. Matt did warn her that they looked dangerous, but he assured her she wouldn't be in any kind of danger. Come on, Alex, Matt urged, falling into step with her as she walked to her car after acting class. It's only one night, maybe 2, he said, his voice rushed, hoping to convince her. We just need a place to crash. It won't be a big deal, so can we stay? I don't know these guys, Matt, she replied, her voice hesitant as she picked up the pace, her footsteps clicking hurriedly on the pavement. It makes me nervous to have strangers in my home. She resisted the instinct to huff and roll her eyes. Having been raised to keep composed and proper under all circumstances, she had hoped to sneak out and avoid him once he had asked the favor at the beginning of the class, but he zeroed in on her the moment their scene was done. One of the guys is a good friend of mine, so I trust him, Matt said, and his friend needs somewhere to crash tonight too. He stepped closer to her when they stopped by her car, putting his arm around her and hoping to get close enough for a kiss. Come on, Alex, he persisted, leaning in and following her movements while she leaned away to avoid any personal contact. Won't you do it for me? We'll all crash in the living room so you don't have to worry about us fighting over the second bedroom. Alex pushed at his chest to get him to step back and give her distance, softening a bit. She didn't think of Matt as a boyfriend, and she wasn't thrilled about feeling like her kindness was being used to his advantage. But lending a hand came so naturally to her. He was the closest thing she had to a friend, and she didn't have many of those. Friends were hard to come by in this business. Alexandra was an aspiring actress living in Hollywood. She knew ingenues were a dime a dozen, but show business was in her blood and she had gotten the acting bug at a very young age. She participated in every talent show and auditioned for every school play. Her grandmother was Lorraine Andrews, famous Hollywood score composer, gone too soon just 3 short years ago. For as long as Alex could remember, summers were spent in Hollywood with Grams, and she loved every minute of them. She looked forward to the beginning of June every year and got horribly sad at the end of August when it was time to go home. Time here with her grandmother showed her the glamorous side of Hollywood through the pictures that Grams shared. When Alex was 12 years old, her grandmother had her meet with an agent, and she'd gotten cast in a Barbie commercial that summer. It was just enough of a taste to get Alex hooked, and every summer after that, there was at least one job waiting for her. Grams had tried to convince her son, David, and his, in her opinion, uptight wife, Janice, to let Alexandra relocate so she could pursue an acting career, but they wouldn't hear of it. That had always made Alex resentful because she felt like they didn't support her dreams. Though there wasn't a choice in the matter, there were the summers to look forward to with Grams. Tragically, 3 years ago, Hollywood lost a legend when Lorraine Andrews had a sudden heart attack. Leaving the bulk of her estate to her only son, Alex's father, Lorraine had left her condo to Alexandra, stating in her will that she wanted her granddaughter to move onward and upward to pursue her dream. Knowing it would rub her daughter-in-law the wrong way, Lorraine saw to it to have the last word, putting in a clause that if David and Janice refused to let Alex move, then David wouldn't inherit her estate. It would all go to Alexandra. Alex had been devastated by the loss of her grandmother, inconsolable at times. Her heart filled with love when she learned of the priceless gift left to her. She had the drive within her, and truth be told, she couldn't wait to get away from her parents. She loved them out of a sense of obligation and knew she had been given every material possession a child could ever want in her upbringing. But the one thing they could never give her was the love and the laughter that she received from Lorraine. Scary as it was, at 19 years of age, Alex transferred her university credits from Colorado to California and made the move to Hollywood. Seeing the stubbornness in his daughter that he knew came from his mother, David knew Alexandra wasn't going to give up until she made it. He and Janice agreed to support her financially if she got her degree and kept up her grade point average. With that condition, Alex dug in and finished school quickly, doubling up on credits to graduate early, and started reaching out to her grandmother's connections upon graduation. She wasn't beneath name dropping if it got her foot in the door, and things were starting to look up. She had just signed with Annette McDonald Talent. Her new agent was sending her on consistent auditions, a few of which she had landed, but nothing to write home about yet. So far, she'd been a young woman shopping in a furniture store with a young man. One had to make sure not to blink when that ad aired, or her appearance would be missed. There was another spot that Alex had an exciting time filming, a commercial for a local spa where she was cast as an attendant handing out towels to patrons in the locker room, only to see the commercial and realize that she was nothing but a blurred background image. Last week, she filmed a close-up for a Burger King commercial and got to eat a French fry on camera and smile with delight for the taste, even though the fries were cold and stale. She hadn't had any Oscar-worthy performances on screen yet, but she knew they were coming. Okay, fine, she told Matt, unlocking her car and sliding in. You and your friends can stay tonight for sure. If it goes well, I'll think about tomorrow too. Awesome, you're the best, Alex. Matt leaned in to kiss her. His lips grazed her cheek as she moved her head aside. Tonight and possibly tomorrow night, and then that's it. I appreciate it, and I know they will too. Alex forced a smile at his enthusiasm, willing the nerves in her stomach to calm down at the thought of 3 men sleeping in her home tonight. Maybe it wouldn't be so bad. Sometimes she got lonely. Maybe the company would be nice. And she didn't like the thought of not helping someone. It was in her nature, a trait that she prized having, as she learned firsthand how generous her grandmother was. What time will you all be over, she asked. Matt answered, plan on us there around 6 o'clock tonight. It was 6:30 and they still weren't there. With any luck, they won't show, she mumbled, continuing to walk back and forth, hoping to calm down. With each passing minute, she was regretting her kindness more and more, shaking her head as she thought about the fact that she had not stocked up on beer for these guys. As much as she wasn't looking forward to unknown house guests, she had been raised to be a generous hostess and to have some kind of beverage to offer people when they were in your home. She had hated the parties that her parents constantly hosted as she grew up. She loathed the stress and the preparation, not to mention the big mess that was left behind when everyone was gone. Her mother had chastised her when she was 13 years old and told her, when you live on your own, you never have to host anything, but while you are under this roof, you'll help and you'll greet our guests with a smile and make them feel welcome. From that moment forward, Alex had decided when she was finally on her own, she would never throw one damn party. She rolled her eyes at the irony of the situation because she was basically throwing a small party tonight, and she hated it. I should have never said yes. She winced as the phone rang, signaling their arrival. She took a deep breath and hoped for the best. Matt rang Alex at the security gate. After she buzzed him in, he led Hayes and his friend Slater up the stairs to her condo. Nice fucking place, Slater observed, admiring the stucco exterior of the condominium complex and appreciating the manicured landscaping and palm trees flanking the security gate. Matt nodded in agreement, walking to the 3rd floor of the mid-rise building to Alex's unit. Her grandmother was a musician who was well known in the industry. I guess she died a few years ago and left the condo to Alex. Wish my grandmother would die and leave me something like this, Hayes slurred, looking over the rim of his sunglasses and noting the classy building, albeit somewhat fuzzy in his stupor. Sliding his glasses back up his nose, he staggered behind Matt as Matt led the way. Slater rolled his eyes at Hayes with a shake of his head. Don't be a dick, man. In Slater's eyes, Hayes was always harmless and cool most of the time, but he had a bad habit of making an impression as a first-class asshole. That's it for part 1. Stay tuned. Tomorrow there will be more.